These are the Altruva, a 50mm driver open back headphone by Kiwi ears. I kept hearing these were good for gaming, but at the same time people were talking about their bass, which to me sounded counter to being good for gaming, or at least for my type of gaming purposes. So I thought, why not find out? As always, my audio setup is the SMSR MDA Raw 1 DAC amp and the Arturia Mini Fuse 1 audio interface, which is what I'll be using to test the Altruva. While I was pretty happy with my Austrian Audio HiX20s, I couldn't help but feel that they would benefit from an open back version or implementation. And first putting on the Altruva, I was immediately reminded of that thought. Now while I'm not expecting the Altruva to be better, I am curious if they are as compelling as they were being hyped to be, especially as they're coming in at such an affordable price, as I picked these up for £58 and they can currently be found for cheaper direct from Kiwi ears. They're available in two colourways, black grey or the Blackwood, as I opted for. There aren't too many accessories included in the package. They come with a 3-meter long cable which uses two 3.5mm connectors into each earpiece with a 3.5mm connector on the other end, and there is a screw-on 6mm adapter included. It also comes with an extra set of velour earpads, which are the earpads I chose to use with them. However, they can be a battle to put on. The headphones have a twist and release system that attaches to the earpieces and are simple enough to take off and put on. But actually putting the pads onto the plate necessitates stretching it over the plate, and I was somewhat worried I would rip the material the whole time I was doing it. But it was fine in the end. Looks wise, I think they look good. However, comfort wise, I find them to be too tight on my head, creating a general discomfort when wearing them. The Altruva are pitched as having a studio monitor-like sound. They are not studio monitor-like, or at the very least they are not a good studio monitor-like sound. The bass is boosted, and in certain situations this can present as too much bass. For instance, when I was playing the finals, there was a match where a teammate was using what I assume was a grenade launcher, and so for the next 10 minutes there was nothing but constant explosions and destruction sound effects, and it was the most obnoxious audio experience I've had since the Black Ops 7 beta. And this was mostly due to the boosted bass making it an even worse experience than it otherwise would have been. That said, in other situations the bass can be positively additive, and I'm sure there will be people that enjoy that kind of sound profile and find it what I imagine they'd describe as immersive. But I personally don't like too much bass. It's a shame because at times it can also feel like the space afforded by being an open back headphone is then encroached upon by the boosted bass, leading to the Altruva feeling like the more claustrophobic set in certain situations. So in comparison, it feels like there's more room for the audio in my closed back HiX20s than the open back Altruva. So the rest of the sound spectrum is operating in the shadow of the bass response. They're not really a bass headset, just bass forward, with the rest of the frequency range organised competently behind it. That said, I was pleasantly surprised how usable they were in some competitive games. As long as the audio didn't have excessive bass frequencies, I was able to hear footsteps and other audio cues. I found them usable enough in Apex, Farlight 84 and the finals, though as I said earlier there were issues when too many explosions were going off. But for games like Call of Duty, or with a similar audio profile, I would suggest using something else. I feel this makes the set recommendable for people who enjoy this kind of tuning and are looking for something fun and flexible on a budget. For people looking for a purely competitive edge, I'd say look elsewhere. But as with a lot of things in audio, individual preference is the most important thing, so I'd always recommend checking them out or picking them up from a place with a good returns policy in case they are not to your suiting. As for me, they are not to my taste and are too tight on my head, but I definitely feel for the right kind of person they are great value for money and are worth checking out to find out if they are right for you.
determined. The tough shells are off to...